It's literally been a heat wave for 3 weeks and you've decided to be cloudy on the day that I'm filming. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing the mid-year book tag, but you'll have to forgive the lighting. I can tell you how hot it's been in the UK. This book, Happy Place by Emily Henry, sits on my shelf. The way that my shelf faces the window and the way that my window faces in the evening, this is the evening sun. The sun comes through and shines onto my bookshelf, and the evening sun has done this. My copy of Happy Place. I'm not even sure if you can tell on camera, but it's gone like so sun bleached. Let's get started on the questions. So if you didn't know, the mid-year book tag is just a tag that is done on YouTube where there is loads of different questions about books that you've read in 2026. I do have a whole video on every single book I've read so far this year, which is reviewing every book I've read this year in a couple sentences or whatever I named it, which is already up if you want to see every single book. But this mid-year book tag just focuses on going through the highlights of your year in reading so far. It's going to be a bit of a long video, so grab yourself a cup of something. I've got a cup of coffee and we will go through the best books and the worst books of 2026. One thing about me though is that I always forget about my drinks, so I'm literally putting my coffee here. Don't let me forget about it. So the first question we have is best book you've read so far in 2026. How many 5 stars have I had? I've had 3 that weren't rereads. Quickly tell you what they were. So they were Diabound, The Winners and The Long Game. I think the winner out of all of those is The Winners by Frederick Backman. I love this series. If you didn't know, this is the 3rd and final book in the Beartown series. There's this town called Beartown. It's a very small town. It's not known for anything. It's not famous for anything. It just is there in the middle of a forest. The only thing that it has going for it is hockey, and this town and its neighbour town are in a bit of a rivalry, which already creates quite a big tension within the town, and that is already like a plot point. But then the main star of the Beartown hockey team does something and is no longer allowed to play, and it kind of separates the town into people that believe that he should still be allowed to play, people that believe that he's a terrible person, and it kind of like just shows what people value in life. And it's actually really sad, some of it, and we follow lots of different people who live in Beartown and people that live in the neighbouring town, just their experiences and their perspectives. It's very much like kind of like a character study on all these people that live here. It's not really got too much I can say in terms of like structured plot, but it just goes through all these characters, and Frederick is not afraid to kill someone off. He's not afraid to break your heart, and this book genuinely made me physical tears going down my cheeks cry. And I do not cry easily at media. Honestly, I don't really cry at films, I don't really cry at books. Sometimes I get teary eyes, but very, very rarely does the tear escape my eye, and it definitely did for this one. And his writing is just amazing. How he makes you care for characters. There's 3 books in the series and I went a year between reading each of them because I genuinely could not go from one to the next. I had to have like a year break, and I still remembered everything about the books. I still remembered everything about the characters. A year later, that is how much it stuck with me, and that is so impressive for me because I don't remember anything about books ever, even like names. I loved this book. Okay, next question. Worst book you've read so far in 2026. This one was actually so bad that I now don't even have the physical copy anymore. I did have it. I had it for years. I didn't read it. As soon as I read it, it didn't even make it to the bookshelf. It got donated straight to charity. And unfortunately, that is Intermezzo by Sally Rooney, and I feel terrible saying that because Normal People is one of my favourite books. I've read Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney as well, and that was like alright. This one was not for me. So we basically follow 2 brothers, which already starting off like, I already don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, if a woman is not one of the main characters, do I care? I can follow a male main character, that's fine, but I want a woman's perspective too. But that's a lie. I have followed many books that are just from a man's perspective and enjoyed them. I don't know, there's something about following 2 men. It's like, because you're not what made one of them a woman. I didn't really enjoy either of them, but specifically Peter, I was just like, man, get a life. Like, actually get a life. He was just spent his whole book debating about being with a woman who was very, very young for him, or a woman who could no longer please him, but he apparently was in love with. And I was just like, And then the other guy, he was alright, but he was just really boring. I just really didn't enjoy it at all, any part of it. I knew I wasn't going to enjoy it, that's why it was on my TBR for so long, and I was correct, so at least we know that I know my own taste. Next we've got best sequel you've read so far in 2026. I'm pretty sure a sequel doesn't need to be the second book, I think it's just any book next in a series, so I would obviously say the winners, but I've obviously already gone through that. The other one, this wasn't a new read though, this was a reread, so I don't know if that's kind of cheating, but I would say Vow of Thieves, but this I read years ago now. Still amazing, still one of my favourite books of all time. I absolutely love the Dance of Thieves series. We follow Jace and Cassie, and Jace is like part of this outlaw family and Cassie is part of the Queen's Guard, and Cassie gets sent on a mission by the Queen to go and get intel on this outlaw family and kind of spy on them, and so she infiltrates into their family, but then they fall in love and it's a bit of a betrayal. And then this is the second book, but I'm not going to say what it's about because it will spoil the first book. And then in terms of one that isn't a reread, if both of those are cheating, then I would go for Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. So this one is the second book in the Six of Crows series. I wish this was a 5-star from me, and I really was predicting it to be a 5-star, and maybe I'll reread it because I read this very slowly, and I also read it when I was on holiday, and I think a lot of people say that they rate books higher when they're on holiday. But I don't think I do. I think because I'm so tuned in on the story, like a big part of holidaying for me is to be able to read so many books, and so if I'm not enjoying a book I really notice. So I would love to reread it. I did still give it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't bad. I just really thought it was going to be a 5-star. The only thing I think kind of that did it for me, it was one that I was confused, but then I am thinking that could be my fault because I started reading it before I went on holiday and I was reading it very on and off, and I was reading it on the Stairmaster, and you know, you're fighting for your life on that Stairmaster, and maybe I wasn't like fully paying attention to some of like the names and stuff, so maybe that's why I was confused. But I found it really confusing at some parts, and also the romance in it, I just wanted a little bit more. It gave me so much breadcrumbs, and I know the romance isn't the like main plot and it's like more of a found family plot, but I was just like, please, giving me a romance so good, like you've written such a good romance, you could give me a little bit more than breadcrumbs. I needed a little bit more, and it didn't satisfy me how it ended with that romance. Like they don't really properly get together at the end, but they're so cute. It's like an open ending, like are they together or are they not? Just tell me. New release you haven't read yet but want to. There are so many, but I managed to narrow it down to 3 when I was thinking about this last night. I've only gone for ones that were released in 2026 because there were a few that I was like, oh yeah, that's a new release, and then I realised it came out in 2025, so it's not really. First one, Yesteryear. This one is on my physical TBR and I'm so excited to get around to it. I would put Lost Lambs in this as well, but I'm actually currently halfway through that, so I am currently reading it, so I'm not going to put it in there. Basically follow this influencer who has like a cottagecore farm life Instagram, but like really everyone does it for her behind the scenes and she just posts the photos. She one day wakes up and she's back in time, I'm pretty sure, and she has to do all the like farming and stuff herself. I think it's like a bit of a comedy maybe. Then I've got Into the Blue, which is a romance. I don't know if it has a happy ending or not. I've seen mixed reviews on it, but I'm really intrigued by it. I can't even remember what the plot is anymore. AJ Graves dreams of writing for SNL. Instead, she's stuck working in a video rental store with slim odds of escaping her Massachusetts small town and large family. Then walks Noah Drew, the enigmatic and intense Scion, I don't know what that word is, of the Drew acting dynasty, and her life changes forever. Despite wildly different upbringings, the two forge a deep cosmic bond, first as friend, then as acting partners, until one day Noah disappears without a word. 7 years later in New York City, AJ is shocked to find herself cast in the same intergalactic TV production as Noah. Okay, so it's like kind of like a second chance, will they, won't they sort of thing, and I'm just really intrigued to read it. And then the other one I've got is a memoir, and that is Strangers. I've just seen so many people say how amazing this book is. Basically it's about her marriage completely broke down in a very like horrible way. I think it just kind of tells the story of that. Next we've got most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I think like this is surely most people's most anticipated release, but that is the next ACOTAR book. Oh my god, I never thought those words would actually leave my mouth. The next one is like 300 something pages, so it's like even shorter than the first Court Thorns and Roses, so it's quite short. And then the next one is going to be like 600 600. I might have made that up, maybe like 400. I can't remember. It's definitely a lot shorter, this first one, but I'm still really looking forward to it. I actually have no clue what it's about. I don't know if the synopsis has been announced or anything. I've been like not really looking into it or anything, but I'm so excited to be back in that world, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to do with it and see what characters are going to be in it and see everything, because I've finished her backlog. Like, I'm waiting, Sarah. I've been waiting. And the other one I have is actually already out, but it technically came out in the second half of the year, because I think it came out on the 30th of June, and that's technically the second half of the year, so I'm going to say it anyway. And that is Main Characters by Bobby Palmer, I think. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this one. I've seen mixed reviews on it, but just the concept, like, I need to read it just to see how it reads in that concept. And it's basically a love story that is told from other people around them's point of view, so you're never in the two characters' point of views, you're seeing them from other people's perspective all around them, and I just think that sounds really interesting. Next we've got biggest surprise of the year. I would say my biggest surprise of the year was The Courting of Bristol Keats by Mary E. Pearson. I never know whether to take this question, biggest surprise of the year, as a positive or a negative. I think you can take it either way, but I always try and take it as a positive if I have one that fits the prompt, and this one definitely is in a positive way. I've not had anyone speak about this like anywhere, but I love Mary E. Pearson so much, as you can tell by me raving about Vow of Thieves earlier. She is the same author as Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves, and this is her like new fantasy series, and I've had literally no one speak about it, and it really doesn't have very good reviews on Goodreads either, but I was like, it's Mary E. Pearson, she wrote Dance of Thieves, and I know a lot of people actually don't like Dance of Thieves, so I was like, maybe like I will still like this even though people aren't liking it, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't quite a 5-star because I don't think I'm gonna think about it that much. I haven't even like thought about reading the second one yet, but I definitely do want to read the second one, and I really enjoyed it, and I still gave it a 4.5. I just couldn't give it a 5 because I wasn't like itching to read the next book, because it didn't really leave it on a cliffhanger, to be honest. Like, the last scene of the book, I'm like, that is a crazy way to leave a book. Like, I didn't really enjoy that. I don't want to say what it ended on. It's not really a spoiler, but I'm not going to say. But I hate when a book ends on that sort of scene, because I'm like, that is the weirdest scene you could have picked to end the book on. And I feel like some things happened off page that I really wanted to happen on page, but I enjoyed it so much and I was so addicted to it and I wanted to pick it up all the time that I still gave it 4.5 despite those two little things. So we basically follow Bristol Keats, who is our main character, and she has two sisters and they grew up in a home with a mum and dad. Like, they had a lovely life, but they just moved around a lot and their parents always seemed to be like on the run from something. And then one day her mum goes missing, and then her father also goes missing and he's found dead. So they are then orphans and they don't know what happened to their parents. But one day she receives a letter through the mail claiming to be aunt, I think it was, saying that they have this painting that was her dad's and is now going to be passed on to her, that she could sell for loads of money. Her and her sisters need money. So she goes to see and investigate about that, and it ends up with her going to the Feywild and meeting the love interest who has a lot of history with her family. I really enjoyed it. There's like trials within it. There's the romance. I really enjoyed the romance. I really liked our male main character and it just went so quick and it was so bingeable and I really enjoyed it. Okay, next question is favourite new author, debut or new to you. So I have gone for two authors that are new to me that I really enjoyed from this year. Are actually two that I read very recently on holiday, and that is Liz Moore, who wrote God of the Woods, and Florence Knapp, who wrote The Names. This one I gave 4.5, this one I gave a 4, but really I'm denied about giving this one a 4.5 or a 4. This one basically follows this mum and she goes to the registry office to name her child, and she has three different options. There's the name that she's picked out for her son, there's the name that her daughter's picked out for her brother, and there is the name that the dad has picked out for his son, which is the same name as his name, because it's like a tradition that the first male in each family is named the same name. And it basically follows what would happen if she named him any of these names. we follow those 3 perspectives. The only thing is, I think because you follow 3 different perspectives, it can get a little bit confusing between the 3. And there was 2 that I kept getting mixed up about what was happening, in which I felt like that's kind of taking me out the story a little bit. And you also don't get to know the characters super well because it's a very short book, and I just wish it was like maybe a little bit longer and we had a little bit more time in each perspective. It's also a lot more about the situation that the mum comes home to after naming the child, rather than what the name of the child has caused him to grow up to be. But I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the writing, I really enjoyed the concept, and I can't wait to read more. I think it's her debut fiction. She's previously written a non-fiction about quilt making, as well as contributing to a book for the V&A Museum. And there's more. Has she got any other books? 5 novels. I didn't know she had other novels. This one, we follow a camp, just a little bit culty. It's set up by this family. It's gone years and years through generations of this family. It's kind of like similar to this one where the oldest guy in the family is given the same name as the dad, and it's like passed down through generations. That sort of like culty thing. One day their son goes missing and he's never found. They never know what happened to him. They're like however long down the line, their daughter starts attending this camp. Then she also goes missing, and it kind of flashes back to the past when Bear, their son, went missing, and then it flashes back to the future when Barbara, their daughter, has gone missing. Kind of trying to fit the 2 timelines together and figure out what's happening, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's like kind of like a slower thriller. It's not really like a action-packed thriller. It's like a slower literary fiction thriller. So next we've got newest fictional crush. I would say definitely Tygan from The Courting of Bristol Keats, and also Stark from Direbound. I recently read Direbound. It's kind of very similar to Fourth Wing, but it's got wolves instead. Sister gets kidnapped. She decides that she's going to go to the front and participate in this war to save her sister, but she ends up going into the bonding trials, which they host every now and then, where you do all these trials and then you bond a wolf. And within this, there's this guy who is a bit of a broody mailman character. She's actually with someone else in the book, but you can kind of tell that that's not going to be who she's going to be with, because they introduce this character, and it's like when they introduce Seyden and you're like, oh, Dane is not the love interest. But you honestly really don't get any romance with him really at all in the first book, and I haven't read the second book yet, but I just know that he's going to be up there, and that is Stark. The next 2 questions are quite funny because they are the book that made you cry and a book that made you happy, and I didn't realise last night when I was filling these questions in, but I have actually put the same 2 books for both of these questions. The books that made me both happy and cry: Crooked Kingdom and The Winners. So The Winners made me happy because I love these characters. I love being back here with these characters, and I was just so engrossed in the book, and I love being engrossed in a book. And it also made me cry because it's freaking tragic. Like, the ending of this book is not okay. I actually had to clock out at some point and just like take a breather. Crooked Kingdom, and it happens in here that again also is not okay. Like, you can't be doing that, and that made me cry. I literally was like say psych right now. I genuinely didn't think that it was serious. Like, I was like, right, but like that's not actually happened. And it had actually happened, unfortunately, and it was actually like the most traumatizing thing I've ever read in my life. But it also made me happy again because I love being back with these characters. I love when they do their heists and they like figure out and do all these problem solvings. I think it's so fun. Okay, the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I mean, I didn't buy this, but it was given to me as a present, and that is The Courting of Bristol Keats. I just think the cover so stunning. Like, Yesteryear is a very stunning cover. I don't know why, I just absolutely love that cover. Hang on, I need to try to get this book out the bottom. I don't think this is going to end well. Another one is, what? The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. I think that is such a stunning cover. And then my favourite cover that I've bought so far this year, I'm actually currently reading it. I've taken the dust jacket off because I hate having dust jackets on when I'm reading, but Lost Lambs, oh, I love that cover so much. It's the pink and the green and the little gold reflective halo, and the little lamb is so cute. The inside of it also has the little halo that's on the lamb, and it's light pink, the inside, with properly embossed gold. Like, it's properly embossed in there. How much was it? It was only $16.99, and look at the mint green on the inside. Oh, I just think it's beautiful. There's nothing that excites me more than a beautiful book. honestly. Okay, and then we've got the last question, which is books that you need to read by the end of the year. Any book on my TBR, but if I want to be specific, the 2 books that I'm like, okay, I need to get these read because they've been on my TBR for way too long. The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni, which is the 2nd book in the Prison Healer series. I've had this on my TBR too long, I need to read it. Favourites by Elaine Fargo. Again, too long on the TBR. And those are all the questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below what you thought of any of these books, what your answers to some of these questions are. I'd be so intrigued to know what books made you cry, because I'm kind of like in the mood for sad books at the minute and I don't really know why. I'm really intrigued for that question, but any of the questions, let me know down below. And if you want to, you can subscribe and turn the bell on, be notified every time I upload, which is every single Saturday. Used to be Saturday morning in the UK time and now do Saturday night. I don't know, I'm just experimenting with different times, seeing which one's best. If you want to follow my social medias as well, they're at _libraryofeden on both TikTok and Instagram, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Bye.